Can I just tell you that you are awesome? Let me tell you, I posted the video last week asking for a couple of comments and you just went crazy. I mean, it got so many comments. You are all amazing and I want to greatly appreciate it, and I'm officially dubbing you the Hype Crew because of how awesome you are. So for this video, let's just get into it. Will Simpson here, and welcome back to the channel, Hype Crew. Y'all are amazing. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you guys went all out for the likes, the comments, and the just absolute support of the last video. So let's keep it up because rock on. Oh, and I totally forgot to mention, we freaking hit 20,000 subscribers today, yesterday, which is incredible. Like, I can't believe it. This channel, I've been going for like 5 years and I hit 20, this, amazing. Anyways, so let me come back down to earth here for a second because we got some cool techniques to show you. I'm going to show you how to use the Dehaze and the Clarity sliders to create some really, really cool effects that you may or may not have known. So let's get into Lightroom and get started, because all this hype thing, I could get all excited and I'll forget to do the video and then it'll be like 30-minute video and I didn't say a thing. At this point, it's like 2 minutes and I haven't said anything except how awesome you are. Anyways, let's go. All right, here we are in Lightroom. So the first one we're gonna go over is how to create those natural bokeh balls. Now you see this when you use like long telephotos and really, really tight depth of field and very like really nice bokeh in the background where the light's hitting the lens properly and getting these really cool bokeh balls. So this is a really cool technique to kind of artificially create them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with this photo and we're gonna press Shift-M on the keyboard. That's gonna give us our radial tool. So right here, you see new radial gradient. What you're gonna do is you're gonna create a radial gradient. Now we're just gonna create a small one right here and to get started so you can see. Now we're gonna go over here to the feather. Now we don't want 100 of the feather. For this specific technique, for this specific feature, we actually want a range of 5 to 10. You can kind of judge which one works best for your photo, but generally around 5 to 10 works. I kind of like it in the 7 range. So we're gonna put the feather at 7, and you'll notice that it's quite small. So if I come off the screen here, your line, your fall off is quite abrupt, but that's okay because that's what a bokeh ball kind of looks. It's soft, but it's noticeable. So what we're gonna do is scroll down here. We're gonna go over here to this little window here and raise the blacks. Now you don't have to do too much. It just kind of depends again on what you want to do. So let's just raise them up to 25, okay? Then we want to warm up the image, not the image, but the actual bokeh ball. So we're going to raise this up to about 15 and we're going to get a natural looking bokeh ball. So that actually doesn't look too bad. Now it is a little dull, so you can stop here and keep it very subtle, or you can go into the exposure and you can raise the exposure up to get a little bit more of it to shine through. Now I'm gonna move it over here and that gives us a bokeh ball. Now you might think, well, it doesn't look too natural. Well, that's right, because if you were to take this photo and get these bokeh balls, there wouldn't just be one big one, there would be several. So the next thing you can do is add additional bokeh balls using the same masks. Now there's 2 ways to do this. The first thing you can do is go to Add, go down to Radial Gradient, or as you see here, you can click Option, I believe it's Alt on a Mac, PC, Option Shift-M. So we're just gonna create another bokeh ball. Notice how the settings, the adjustments are the same. And we're gonna create one right here, kind of a smaller one off screen. We're gonna press Shift, Option, M to add another one. We're gonna create another one right here. And let's see how that's looking. Looking better. Okay, well, let's lower the exposure a little bit of them. Good. Then Shift, Option, M. We'll create another one right here. Maybe a really tiny one in the corner here. Yeah, that's not looking bad. Now again, it still looks a little fake. Well, let's reduce them a little bit. So now we're gonna go to Subtract and do a Subtract Linear Gradient. And we're just gonna drag this here. I'm gonna slide this right about there so it subtracts a little bit away from the bokeh balls, making it a little bit natural. Then we're gonna subtract another linear here. We're just gonna put it here so it kind of fades them in. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so now that we got those linear gradients in, it's looking okay, but it still looks a little off. So I forgot to adjust one setting, the ones that we're working on in this video. So we're gonna go down here and adjust the dehaze. We're gonna lower that to about 12, and we're gonna lower the clarity to soften them up. Then we're gonna go back up here to the exposure, because what dehaze does is it'll actually brighten up the image. It creates more of a glow, so we can lower down the exposure again. Now we have our nice little natural bokeh balls that we've been trying to work on. And you can tweak these a little bit more, get them a little bit more natural, but as you can see, you can actually create a nice little bokeh ball. Now the next one we're gonna go into is called glow. Now basically this is just creating an artificial sun flare. So if you have a really nice cloudy sky and then the sun is peaking right at the horizon, you can kind of enhance that. Or let's say you have a really nice golden hour, you wanna kind of blow out one of the sides, you can do that as well. So let's go here to our next image. One really quick tip on any technique or anything that you do in Lightroom, it is important to make sure that your image warrants that effect. For example, you wouldn't put necessarily a sun flare or a bright orange ball on an image that's super cloudy and foggy, and you wouldn't put bokeh balls necessarily on an image that has a really wide depth of field where everything is in focus. So keep this in mind. To make it look realistic, it needs to almost be realistic. It doesn't have to necessarily be there when you took the photo, but it could have been there, if that makes sense. Okay, sunflare time. So this image is great. It's a perfect image for a sunflare. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a radial. We're gonna create a large voice cracking radial, and we're gonna increase the feather. So this is essentially the sun. And then what I do to decrease the size of the radial on all sides at the same time is push and hold shift and then adjust it. So I'm pressing and hold shift and then sliding it in. We're gonna place the sun kind of where it would be. And then all we're gonna do is go down here. First, we're going to lower the dehaze, which gives us that nice glow. Then we're gonna lower the clarity, which gives us a nice softness. Then we're gonna come up here to our temperature. We're gonna raise the warmth, and then we're going to raise the exposure a little bit. Now here's the before, and here's the after. It's very subtle, but honestly, it makes the image that much more interesting. Now the next one is a fun one. This is called fog. Now, fog is also very image specific. For example, you wouldn't do this technique on, say, this image here, and I'll show you why once we build it. But fog is a really cool way to add it if it wasn't there without going to Photoshop. So let's do this. First things first, I'm gonna adjust the crop of this photo because the fact that it's the castle's crooked is driving me nuts. So we're just gonna go to transform and press auto. That didn't do a thing. So we're just gonna press off and adjust it so the castle is straight. That was a close one. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is, again, we're gonna press Shift M for the radial gradient. Then we're going to draw a radial. We're going to increase the feather completely, all the way up, 100%, okay? Now this technique requires kind of like the same thing as the bokeh balls, duplication. So the first thing we're gonna do is lower the dehaze, which gives us the natural fog. You're gonna lower it quite a bit. And then you're going to raise the exposure, and this will give us our makeshift fog. Now this is pretty small, so let's go ahead and make this larger. There we go. Good, now we have one radial. Now if you remember when we did the bokeh, and we duplicated the radial, what did we press? That's right, Shift Option M or Shift Alt M. So we're gonna do the same thing, Shift Option M. We're gonna duplicate our radial, and then we're gonna draw another one right here to add layers. I'm gonna put that one there, Shift Option M, gonna add another one over here, make them different sizes. Fog is all unique, so you can just layer this all, ooh, see, that's what happens when you don't press the Option key. Good, here we go, Shift Option M, perfect. We're just gonna layer this up and create our beautiful, damn, Shift Option M, and we can, okay, now I'm just drunk editing. So here we go, oh, come on. I don't even know what I'm doing. Anyways, here, we're gonna add radial. We'll just do this way, good. Add another one here. Okay, now we have our fog. Now that looks really good, right? So here's the before and here's the after. I mean, now when you make one adjustment, it adjusts all of those radials. So let's say you wanted to brighten them up. Good, now we got thicker fog, but maybe they're just looking a little too dark, right? So you can adjust the blacks to add a little bit more black to it. But what we're gonna do actually, now that we have our fog, is the image is substantially bright. Like if it was foggy like this, it probably wouldn't be that bright a green. So remember, the key to making it look natural is it's gotta be realistic, right? So let's lower the exposure of the whole image. Then let's go back into our mask. We're gonna raise the fog, good. Then we're gonna go into the saturation of the green. Gonna click this little tooly-dooly here and lower the saturation of the greens. Good, and then we're gonna go to the luminance, and again, lower the luminance. That looks better. And then we'll go back to the saturation, lower some more of the saturation. There we go. So now, this looks pretty legit. Before, after. Pretty cool, huh? So, why don't you use this kind of adjustment on something that doesn't necessarily exist there? Well, watch this. So we're gonna press Command-C, and we're gonna copy this mask. We're then gonna go to this image, where clearly there would be no fog, and we're gonna paste the mask. Yep, now it just looks like ice. Now you can tweak this, right? So let's just click here. Let's click this one, let's move it here, let's move this one here. Let's try it, let's get rid of this one not that one. Let's get rid of this one altogether. Maybe get rid of this one here and move this here. All right, so how can we make this look more natural? Let's lower the exposure and raise that. Then raise the dehaze now. I mean, okay, here's the before, here's the after. So you kind of added ice. Hey, that's kind of cool. That's a special feature for you. That's how you create ice. Anyways, you see what I'm trying to see. It doesn't look like fog because the elements there for fog don't exist. So it looks unnatural. But in this case, it looked pretty cool because now it looks like ice. Anyways, let's get on to the next feature, which is the Orton effect. I'm sure you've heard about it, but now I'm going to show you how to do it in Lightroom. All right, so here we are on this final image, and the Orton effect is simply a glow. It is a blurry, kind of soft glow that pulls attention to the image. Now, you can do it on the entire image, right? So you're just going to come down here to your clarity and dehaze slider, and you're just going to lower them, right? Minus 40, minus 40, minus 40, minus 40. Sure, why not? Let's do that. The one thing to remember, when you use the dehaze and the clarity slider and you lower them, you're going to brighten the image, but you're also going to desaturate it a little. So you might have to add a little bit of saturation back here, and you might have to add a little bit, or lower the exposure a little bit here. But you still get that same effect. So here's the before, and here's the after. I mean, it looks pretty badass. But there's one more way you can do this. So let's reset this entire thing. I'm pressing and holding Alt or Option and resetting those. And I'm going to create a radial. Go figure. I'm going to draw a radial around my subject. Change the feather so it's just around them. And then I'm going to invert it. Now I'm going to add the Orton effect. So we're going to scroll down here. Dehaze minus 40. Clarity minus 40. Or whatever we want to do. Good, that works. Press and hold Shift, and we're gonna drag this open, make the feather a little bit smoother, and then actually I'm going to take this down and out, and then I'm gonna move this over because I want it to kind of, the Orton effect to start where the rule of thirds is, so it fades into the image up to where the waterfall is. But check that out. Now we have the subject without Orton effect and in focus, right? But we have the rest of it have that blurry natural glow. So let's go into here and let's actually lower the exposure a little bit and raise. I'm going to do the, no, I guess I'm not going to do the vibrance. I was going to do the vibrance, but there is no vibrance. So we're going to do the saturation. I bet you that's coming soon. Anyways, so here's the before and here's the after. And there you have it. Those are 4 awesome techniques that you can use the dehaze and clarity sliders and your masks, mix them in, create some awesome little cool features in Lightroom rather than having to go to Photoshop. But that wraps up this video. So you know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, comment because hype crew, let's go. And I'm so silly. Anyways, I'll see you next week.